Celebrating 10 years of Sunday Night Football, NBC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
It's the Vikings against the Packers. Well, he'll be going to the Pro Bowl for the 6th time in his illustrious career. He's Clay Matthews, linebacker, Green Bay Packers, moments ago with Michelle.
Well, Clay, your team is already in the playoffs, but a win tonight would give you a home game and your 5th straight division crown. How much motivation does that give you guys coming into this game?
It's enough motivation right there. We obviously play to win the game, and it's no different tonight. We're in the playoffs, but we want a home game. We want to secure that 3rd seed and win a 5th straight NFC North title, I guess.
You've had some fierce battles between your defense and Adrian Peterson. Both of you have had your share of successes. What are the absolute essentials to slowing him down?
We got to stop him before he gets going. He's real dangerous, and not only is he going to hit the hole that he's designed, but he can pop it out of there. So we got to stop him before he gets going and have the same success we had last week.
Clay, thanks very much. And the Packers are without starting cornerback Sam Shields, who remains in the concussion protocol for the 3rd straight week. On offense, left tackle David Bakhtiari is out, which means that Pro Bowl left guard Josh Sitton will make his first career start at left tackle, and Lane Taylor will start at left guard for the first time in his career. Meanwhile, for the Vikings, starting nose tackle Linval Joseph is out.
All right, Michelle, so the winner of this game, home cooking all week. If the Vikings win, they clinch the division, and Seattle goes to Minnesota next week. If they lose, they come right back here next weekend for a rematch with the Packers. If the Packers win, they stay here and host the Vikings next week. If they lose, they go to our nation's capital and take on the Washington Redskins next weekend. So that is what is at stake tonight. Darrell Patterson, one of the top run back men in the league, averages over 31 yards per kickoff return. In fact, there it is right there. 5 career games against the Packers, averaging almost 35. Mason Crosby to kick off. And on this 26-degree night, as we pointed out, it feels about 10 degrees cooler. Packed house, of course, at Lambeau Field. And the final regular season game starts, as so many games do, with a touchback. Let's take a look at the Viking offense.
Teddy Bridgewater, Louisville.
Adrian Peterson, Oklahoma.
Stephon Diggs, University of Maryland. Mike Wallace, Ole Miss.
Kyle Rudolph, Notre Dame.
Rhett Ellison, SC.
Matt Khalil, University of Southern California.
Brandon Fusco, Slippery Rock University.
Joe Berger, Michigan Tech University.
Mike Harris, UCLA. TJ Clemmings, Pittsburgh.
That offensive line has been intact all season long. In fact, the Vikings are the only team to start the same 5 offensive linemen in every game this year. And Adrian Peterson, unless he loses somehow, someway 16 yards tonight net, he has already won the rushing title for the 3rd time. He, of course, is the back here on first down from the 20, and AP will pick up 2 hard-earned yards up to the 22-yard line. Teddy Bridgewater, he was the last guy picked in the 1st round of the draft last year. Has thrown for 3,000 or more yards. First guy to do that since Brett Favre did it back in 2009. Took over as the starter early last year. He is cool and very poised, having a fine season. They don't ask him to do too much, but he's done certainly enough to get them to a mark of 10-5 this season, with a little help from number 28. And there goes Peterson. A flag is thrown. There was action up front, and Peterson, for the moment, is up to the 31-yard line. Looked like B.J. Raji may have crossed the line of scrimmage. The nose tackle for the Packers, Bill Vinovich, who reffed last year's Super Bowl, is tonight's referee, and they picked the flag up. So it looked like you had Raji coming across the line. Take a look again. There he was.
He was definitely across the line, or appeared to be anyway, but that's a good start for Adrian Peterson right there. That is what the Vikings want to do tonight. Get physical with the Green Bay Packers, not get pushed around the way they did last game.
Had there been a penalty, obviously it would have been declined anyway with a gain of 10. Now Bridgewater, and he's going to go deep downfield, and he had a man open. That's Jerick McKinnon, becoming more and more a part of the Minnesota game plan. Running back, he was a receiver, he was a quarterback at Georgia Southern. He can do it all. Second down.
Huge miss by Teddy Bridgewater here. McKinnon is absolutely one-on-one against the weak link of this defense as far as coverage is concerned. The rookie, Jake Ryan, they saw it a week ago. They wanted to try and get as many isolations with McKinnon against Ryan as they could, and they blow the first opportunity.
Second down and 10. From the 31. And Peterson swinging to the outside, looks to cut it back, can't. Tackled there by Clay Matthews, who, believe it or not, has not made a single tackle in the last 2 games, but he gets one here. It's third down.
Very tough for the center to try and catch up with this guy when he is moving fast. Clay Matthews just beats Joe Berger to the point, and Adrian Peterson had nowhere to go. And Clay Matthews found little humor in the conversation about not having any tackles in the last 2 weeks.
Well, they made a big deal of it here. He is still second on the team to Clinton Dix in tackles for the year. McKinnon is in as the third down back, and they flank him. You have 5 receivers in this set. Bridgewater, the play clock at 0, throws, crossing over the middle is McKinnon, but they'll tackle him at the 37. So a blown opportunity on that long pass to McKinnon, and it's fourth down, and they'll punt.
Joe Thomas, who comes in the dime situations, really made a tough play right there, completely lost what was going on. Here he is. Here comes McKinnon across, and you'll see that Joe Thomas barely catches up with McKinnon on this one as the ball zips by him. Very lucky to be able to get him on the ground and hold him short of the first down. Uh-oh, here we go.
Jeff Locke, and they're going to fake it, and to the outside, and they're going to get the first down. Adam Thielen, a wide receiver, is inside the 30, and Thielen gets tackled at the 21-yard line. And Mike Zimmer goes to his bag of tricks 3 minutes into the game.
They've got leverage right out here, but just don't pick up the fact that the ball is going to be snapped and directly run this way. Really, he was right there in position to be able to make a play on that one, just unable to do so. Kennard Backman, I believe that was 86.
And off he goes for a gain of 41. Now Peterson, this time with a fullback. Zach Line in the game. They fake it to him. Bridgewater, he can run, but not very far here. Gets forced out of bounds by Clinton Dix. And Bridgewater winds up out of our view for the moment, but is okay. Second down. Mike Zimmer, what a job he has done. Long time assistant, several years with Dallas. Then he went to Atlanta for a year. Then he went to Cincinnati. Finally gets a head coaching job. Led him to 7 wins last year. Turned that defense around, and this year he gets him into the playoffs.
And he said he had a conversation with Bill Parcells about these kinds of situations going in the playoffs. He said, Bill said, I told the team I was going to be aggressive, and what happened? They come out and fake a punt there on the first drive.
So Mike McCarthy in his 10th year on the other side to the playoffs 8 times. Play action, Bridgewater to the end zone, and that's incomplete. Intended for Mike Cole Pruitt. They went to 3 tight ends. Let's take a look at the Green Bay defense.
Detroit Guyana, Bradford High School Tornadoes.
B.J. Raji, Boston College. Mike Daniels, Iowa.
Mike Neal, Purdue University.
Jake Ryan, Michigan.
Clay Matthews, USC.
Julius Peppers, North Carolina.
Demarius Randall, Arizona State.
Morgan Burnett, Georgia Tech.
Clinton Dix, the University of Alabama.
Quentin Rollins, Miami, Ohio.
Of course, the big guy they're missing is the corner Sam Shields, who misses his 3rd consecutive game after sustaining a concussion. So he's still under that protocol.
And here's where they've had problems pass protecting in the past.
Good job here, and then the pass is incomplete over the head of Jarius Wright. You had Demarius Randall, a rookie out of Arizona State, covering on the play, and it's 4th down.
My complaint with this one is watch how quickly Jarius Wright comes right to the outside. So he leaves himself no room at all on the boundary to fade that throw. It was really a perfect throw by Bridgewater, but because he didn't squeeze that corner back inside, there just wasn't any field to work with out there.
Teddy knows it. A couple of opportunities. go awry. 39-yard field goal off the foot of Blair Walsh is good. So the 41-yard trick play sets him up for the first score of the game. 3-0 Minnesota at Lambeau. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by the U.S. Army. Join the team at GoArmy.com. By Geico, 15 minutes to save you 15% on car insurance. By Toyota, let's go places. And by McDonald's, now serving breakfast all day. That's Xavier Rhodes of the Minnesota Vikings paying a Christmas Eve visit to the University of Minnesota Masonic Children's Hospital. Not that cold. Warmer than it was in Minnesota last Sunday by a couple of degrees. 3-0. The Vikings on top. Winner gets to stay home next week. Loser on the road. And Blair Walsh will send this one through the end zone. So the Packers, 4:15 into the game, ready to take over. Rodgers and company when we come back. Log on to NBC Sports Live Extra. You can take the game with you anywhere. Laptop, tablet, connected TVs. Don't miss a moment of NFL football action. Green Bay City Hall, Titletown, USA. They won a few of those through the years. Most recently in 2010 when they beat Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. Eddie Lacy is the running back. And Lacy to the outside. It's had an interesting odyssey this season to the 21-yard line. Second and long. Aaron Rodgers against the Vikings has the highest passer rating by any player against one team in NFL history. So he has been normally red hot against Minnesota. And even on a day when he completed less than 50% of his passes in late November there in Minnesota, he still won the game by 17 points. And Lacy again, and Lacy bursts through the seam. First down, not to the 32 on a gain of 11 yards for Eddie.
Right here we got Corey Linsley working against Tree Floyd up the middle. Remember, Linval Joseph, probably the best interior run defender for the Minnesota Vikings, without question the best inside there, is not in this game tonight. So that'll be something to watch.
Lacy had 100 yards on the ground in that November meeting in Minnesota. Now you've got action up front. Boy, Rodgers is so good at this. It's a free play. Normally he launches one, and he does here to the extent that he can, and the pass is incomplete. That's Tom Johnson who comes across the line. Aaron's been doing that brilliantly for years. You get the free play, you get the flag. You know, you can't lose anything, and off he goes.
Offside. Defense number 97. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, he gave us quite the lecture on this hard count, didn't he, Al? Talking about how you want to use your voice inflection and raise the volume up and down slightly, but if you do it too much, it tips off the defense. They actually had guys from MIT come in here in the offseason and do a study on voice inflection and how to do that. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to make it a 5-yard penalty. He wants to make it a 70-yard penalty against you.
They don't miss a beat, do they?
No, they do not.
First time we've heard of that. 1st and 5 now. And this is Lacy going to the outside and going nowhere. Chad Greenway with the tackle. Let's take a look at the Packers starters.
Aaron Rodgers, Butte Community College.
Eddie Lacy, Alabama.
John Kuhn, Shippensburg University.
Randall Cobb, Kentucky.
Devontae Adams, Fresno State.
James Jones, San Jose State.
Josh Sitton, Central Florida.
Lane Taylor, Oklahoma State.
Corey Linsley, The Ohio State.
TJ Lang, Birmingham Brother Rice.
Brian Balaga, Iowa.
And with Bakhtiari out and everybody moving around and sitting, normally a guard playing left tackle. Very interesting to watch what happens up front. And, of course, the crowd salutes Mr. John Kuhn every time he gets the ball with that chant. He takes it down to the 39. So Mike McCarthy started the season. He let Tom Clements call the plays. And then he took over the play calling duties back about a month ago against Dallas. So Clements, of course, still involved. Edgar Bennett is the offensive coordinator. But McCarthy's been calling the plays since he was a rookie head coach in 06. And he assumes that again as you look at Clements up there. 3rd and 3. clock at 1. And Rodgers with a deep retreat. Getting away, and he's going to be a little short of the first down. Eric Kendricks, little linebacker, is there to stop him, inches shy of the line to gain.
Josh Sitton's going to have his hands full against this guy on the outside. Everson Griffin, probably their best pass rusher. And, of course, Sitton, hardly any experience whatsoever at left tackle, doing the best that he can. And for Aaron Rodgers, just wanting to sneak up there and get the first down. Just a little short, I thought, too, Al.
Yeah, I think it is from here. And, again, even Paul McGuire would agree here. There's no question about it. This is easy. Very simple. But the measure anyway.
That's that think about it time as a coach.
Sure.
You ask for the measurement so you have a little extra time to think about what you want to do. Well, we saw Mike Zimmer be very aggressive with a fake punt the first 4th down he faced. And now we'll see what Mike McCarthy wants to do.
Well, if nothing else, the way Rodgers exploits that hard count, why not take a shot at, trying to get them offside?
I have a feeling they may go for it. There's not that big a risk in this game. I mean, the alternatives to winning and losing aren't that much different for these two teams. You can make an argument either way. So if you were going to pick a game to do aggressive things, this would probably be it.
As Zimmer proved very early on. So for the moment, you've got 2 tight ends. You got Lacey as the back. And you can see the Vikings have jumped offside. Neutral zone infraction a lot. A lot of teams have done that here because Rodgers knows how to get them to jump. Will he go for it? Play clock at 5. And they will indeed. And Lacey is going to get the first down with 2nd, 3rd, and 4th efforts. Behind John Kuhn. Looked like they had him stopped in the backfield. He picks up the first.
Nice job by T.J. Lang getting there. That's a tough reach block right there. But for the most part, this is Eddie Lacy, who's playing with a bad rib. It was really hurting him last week to the point where he just lived in fear of sneezing. Said he sneezed one time and it knocked him to the ground. So he's out there playing in some pain right now. But fought his way for that first down.
Number 43 now. Lacy. Look at that. Moving the entire pile. You got about 10 guys in there. And Eddie Lacy keeps those legs going. A lot of talk about Eddie reporting overweight, and a lot of people saying, well, that's why he didn't do particularly well early in the season, had some problems, made him inactive for a game, but he's really been coming on of late. And as you can see against the Vikings in 5 career games, pretty good.
Yeah, that's a way of making up for it against the Vikings. 22 rushes for 100 yards in that first game. And really, he's been hot lately. He's had over 100 yards in 3 of his last 6 games. So this is the time of year he usually takes off.
2nd down and 4. Play action. Rodgers fires. That's caught wide open. And that's a first down to the 34-yard line to Richard Rodgers, the tight end.
Here we go. Josh sitting out here on Everson Griffin. Tough inside move. He stays right with him and then eventually gets him to the ground, which gives Aaron Rodgers time to find Mr. Hail Mary himself, Richard Rodgers, and look back at that catch that he made against Detroit, a season changer.
No doubt at the end of the game, in a game they were trailing badly and early, and win it at the end on the Hail Mary. Now got Lacey again to the 29. Let's take a look at the Minnesota defense.
Brian Robinson, University of Texas.
Sharif Floyd, University of Florida.
Tom Johnson, Southern Mississippi.
Everson Griffin, USC.
Anthony Barr, University of California, Los Angeles.
Eric Kendricks, UCLA Bruins.
Chad Greenway, University of Iowa.
Terrence Newman, Kansas State. Andrew Sendejo, Rice University.
Harrison Smith, University of Notre Dame.
Xavier Rhodes, Florida State University.
Harrison Smith had missed a couple of games, came back last week, had a pick 6 against Eli Manning in the win against the Giants. And here goes Lacey again, bullying his way to the 24-yard line. Chad Greenway, who may retire at the end of the season after 10 seasons. Number 1 draft choice out of University of Iowa in 06 in on the stop.
Yeah, led him in tackles last week, so he's still playing well. But, boy, it's interesting to watch the Green Bay Packers come out At the beginning of the year, they were all 3 wide receivers, 1 back, that sort of look. Let Aaron Rodgers do his thing. Rodgers was hot. And then it sort of went the other way on them. Now they're 2 tight ends, a fullback, a tailback, 1 wide receiver. Completely different look out of this team.
And right now they put Starks in the game as the tailback with a fullback here. Vikings almost jump. And on 3rd and 1, here's Starks to the outside, and Starks able to thread his way to the 19-yard line. Tackled there by Greenway. Another Green Bay first down. Their 4th on this drive.
Yeah, able to get Lindsley, the center, out in front of it, but really for James Starks, very big run for him. I know it sounds silly, but here's a guy that's had 4 fumbles in the last 4 games, and they have been working hard on his fundamentals, just hanging on to the ball. He got a little extra cheer that time.
Pass to the outside. James Jones slipping a tackle. 9-yard gain. James Jones, what an odyssey it's been for him. Was a Packer, went to Oakland, spent all season with the Raiders. They let him go. He was in the Giants camp in preseason. They let him go. Jordy Nelson got hurt. They brought Jones in, and he's been terrific for them. Also, he's making a fashion statement with that hoodie.
Yeah, got the hoodie thing working, sort of came up with a new style. He had 6 touchdowns the first 6 games, only 2 in the last 9, but it's hard to imagine the Packers even being in this position if it weren't for the fact that they got James Jones back.
For sure. 2nd down and 2. Fake to Starks. Rodgers surveying and throws it out of the back of the end zone. It'll be 3rd down and 2 at the 11.
I sort of think of old Mike Shanahan's offenses. You get the 2 tight ends in there, you pound the ball, you go off tackle, then all of a sudden you get an athlete like Aaron Rodgers coming out on the bootleg on the edge. Very well played that time by the Minnesota Vikings defensively, and this is really sort of those key moments in the game. You get a 3rd down and a couple. Are you going to hold them to 3, or do they go on in and score the touchdown here?
14th play of the drive. The running back is Lacey. And out of a tight formation, Rodgers flips it, and it's caught by Kuhn at the 10. So now you've got a 4th down. So do you send Crosby in to tie the game, or you go for it again? They've already made 1 4th down, and Crosby's coming out onto the field.
Pretty well done. I think that was Chad Greenway that time that worked his way through the traffic. Sometimes those inside backers can get lost in all that traffic, but he fought his way through it and held him short.
Mason Crosby, done yeoman work in his 9 seasons as a Packer, picked in the 6th round out of Colorado in 2007. Tim Nastay to hold it. Rick Lovato is the new snapper. And the kick is good just inside the right upright. 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Tied at 3 at Lambeau. Tonight show with Jimmy Fallon and Sly will be coming by this week, and an array of bold-faced names on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon this week on NBC.
I think you should go on there and do the lip sync one time.
You think?
What would you say?
As soon as Jimmy comes out to L.A., go to Burbank and do it. I'm all his. 2:02 left in the opening quarter. Game tied at 3. And we'll get a run back here from the goal line by McKinnon. Brings it out to the 24-yard line, and Minnesota has the ball for the 2nd time in the game. 3-3 in Green Bay.
Adrian Peterson has had success against everybody in the National Football League, and according to Pro Football Focus, the Green Bay Packers no exception. Relatively balanced across the board, his success against this football team. And yet in the first game this season between these 2 teams, he only got 13 carries. Some success over here, but the 13 carries really the key to look at there. And so for this game, they want to very much focus on allowing these offensive linemen who struggle sometimes in pass protection to go forward and be aggressive against this defensive line and not sit back and have to pass block all the time.
Some of his carries limited in that game as they trailed all the way and by a big margin toward the end. He takes it to the 30-yard line. So you know the story with Peterson suspended last year after one game because of the child abuse charges that he was facing. So he missed, in effect, the entire season. Comes back this year, and he'll win the rushing title. Doug Martin of Tampa Bay started the day a little more than 60 yards behind, but gained only 48 in the game against Carolina. So AP has his third rushing crown. 2nd down and 4. Peterson one more time, and it's going to set up a 3rd and 2. Bunched up at the 32-yard line.
Yeah, it's a pretty good job there by the Packers defensively. And what they want to do, Al, is they want to maintain sort of a straight line, if you will, across this defensive line. In other words, they don't want to get here, and then the double team push him back there. Maintain a wall so that he doesn't have somewhere to jump around. When you watch Adrian Peterson run, you'll see the patience. He'll get from 8 yards deep in the backfield, up in there, take his time, wait for somebody to get out of position, then jump into that gap.
3rd down and 2. Packers realigned defensively, and then a one-hopper is incomplete, intended for Mike Wallace.
That might have been the best one-hopper he ever threw, because it looked like Demarius Randall had that one wired to go the other way on him. And that's the one thing you'll see with Bridgewater, is that he is patient. You see Randall right out of the corner of your screen start to jump inside that, and I think he might have had it. But Teddy Bridgewater plays for a defensive coach, and he understands the value of throwing it in the dirt every once in a while.
Launch punt, collected at the 16, Mike the Hyde, and he gets stripped up at the 26. There's a flag down there. Relatively penalty-free first quarter. We'll hear from Bill Vinovich in a moment.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 83. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Green Bay keeps the ball. First down. Timeout.
Janis. Waning seconds of the quarter, 3-3. And tonight's aerial coverage being brought to you by Go. It's quite a shot. Looking down into Lambeau Field, opened in 1957. Of course, they've added to it a lot of great improvements. Capacity right now over 80,000, which is only about 20,000 less than the population of the city of Green Bay. But of course, they come from all over Dairyland. They love the Packers. Don't have to tell you. But they just did anyway. From the 16.
It's late in the year.
Right. Week 17. Rodgers. He flings it to the sideline, and that is caught, and that is Richard Rodgers making the catch. Stayed in bounds, so the clock will wind down to all zeros, and we will head to the second frame. End of the first quarter with the score: Minnesota 3, Green Bay 3, and Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages.
Waiting all day for Sunday night.
All right, Michaels and Collinsworth, along with Michelle DeFoya back in Green Bay. You know, each of these teams goes to the playoffs. I heard some Minnesota fans talking about, you know what, maybe if we don't win this game, or, you know, we'd rather face Washington on the road than Seattle at home. You can't think that way, though. If you're this 6th seed, which Minnesota would be, you'd have to win 3 road games just to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but they also remember that Seattle beat them 38-7, and the only touchdown scored in that game for Minnesota came on a kickoff return. So there's a little merit to that, too. Plus, if you saw Seattle today, you go, uh-oh. Yeah. If they get Marshawn Lynch back, double uh-oh.
James starts here on the second one. Picks up the first down. So, again, if Minnesota wins the game, they go home for the wild card game. Seattle goes there. Green Bay goes to Washington. If they lose, Mike Zimmer takes his team right back across the state of Wisconsin to play here next weekend.
But it was interesting to hear how important it was to Aaron Rodgers to continue to dominate this division. They've all taken their swings at him in Week 17 the last 3 years, but to no avail.
Green Bay looking for a 5th straight NFC North title, and Rodgers avoids the sack and flings it into the bench.
Well, one of the interesting storylines here, Josh Sitton, one of the great all-pro guards, moves out to left tackle, and there's Josh Sitton against their best pass rusher, Everson Griffin. A little inside move. He handles that one well. And then a little finishing touch. I think you get away with a few of those little sling downs inside a guard, maybe a little easier than at tackle, but he's out there fighting and quite the team player. He really is. You want me to play tackle? Whatever, Coach, I'm there.
Sitton, 8th year in the league out of Central Florida. Here starts up to the 29, and we go to Michelle.
Well, when I spoke with Josh Sitton after practice yesterday, he said they were heading into their 24-hour rule where they would spend the remaining time before the game preparing mentally. But he told me that's tough. We don't know who's lining up where or what the lineup's going to be. And if you don't know where you're going to be, you have to get your mind right for 2 scenarios. He was sort of dreading that, guys.
Well, last week, of course, the reason this was made, there's Don Barclay, who had his hands full last week. Aaron Rodgers got sacked 8 times against Arizona. They put Scott Tolzien in, and he got sacked as well. So 9 times they got to the Green Bay quarterback in the desert last Sunday. It's 3rd down and 8 here. Pressure put on. Rodgers gets enveloped. You've got Harrison Smith on a safety blitz, and the sack back at the 23-yard line. 4th down.
One of the things that the Vikings thought they did not do a good job of last time was pressure these wide receivers. We've seen this out of teams before. Zimmer says, I don't ordinarily tell my guys that they have to play bump and run. Here's the bail technique on the other side after starting off from Terrence Newman. But he said, I told my guys this week, no cheap, easy throws. I want you in their face. We're going to be aggressive. We kind of first saw that in the Denver game, Al.
We did in week 7. Here's Mastey's kick. Sherrills collects at the 30, puts the ball on the ground, and it will go out of bounds. So they're lucky. Jeff Janis comes in there, creates the fumble, and Minnesota gets a big break by retaining possession. They'll advise to try to make the catch on the punt without calling for a fair catch right along the sideline. You know nowhere to go anyway.
Well, it's so hard for those punt returners sometimes. You only get so few opportunities to make plays, and sometimes they can get away from you.
Vikings ball when we come back. Teddy Bridgewater on this 26-degree night, only 23 years old, 2nd season, completing almost 2 out of every 3 passes over his first 2 years, and the completion percentage in the last 3 games, including those routes of Chicago and the Giants, over 70%. And he's been much more efficient going deep downfield. However, he did miss that golden opportunity to McKinnon in the first quarter.
And here's a guy that grew up idolizing Brett Favre and coming back and getting his first start at Lambeau Field. So you know it's a big emotional night for him. And usually first-time starters don't do so well at quarterback in this state.
From the 16, nothing like being able to hand the ball off to Adrian Peterson, who is able to scramble back to the line of scrimmage. Tackle made there by Dayton Jones. You know, we've had a chance to be with him the last couple of weeks. Very poised, articulate, just seems to have everything under control. 2nd down and 10. Peterson to the short side of the field. 2 yards up to the 17-yard line. But you sit with that guy and you go, he can't be 23. He's got to be 33.
I agree. And I thought Kyle Rudolph said it just about right. He said, you know, anytime you've got a young quarterback that's going to start early in his career, he's forced to be a leader, right? You go in there and the coaches say you got to lead and everybody's supposed to follow him. But we want to follow him. He has a natural, calm, he's an entertainer to some extent, and guys are willing to follow someone his age. It's pretty rare in the National Football League.
Grew up in Florida, in Miami, went to school at Louisville, drafted in the first round last year, last pick in the draft, number 32 overall. 3rd down and 8, and Bridgewater fires to a wide open Mike Wallace, and Wallace out to the 40-yard line, one of their big off-season pickups, but they've really unable to exploit his speed down the field in this offense.
Well, Quentin Rollins was in a zone to the outside so that when Wallace went inside, Casey Hayward didn't pick him up. That looked like a prevent defense of some kind and could not have been an easier conversion Well, it sure is nice to get Mike Wallace back involved in the action as well. Here's a guy that only 12 receptions the last 9 games, sort of the forgotten guy for the Vikings.
And only into the end zone twice this season. 39 receptions overall. Give it to Peterson up to the 43-yard line. He goes, second down.
Boy, it's fun to watch teams that are well coached. And right now, the Green Bay Packers are executing Dom Capers' game plan against Adrian Peterson pretty darn well. They are not flying up the field. They're not trying to get penetration in the backfield, which creates those multi-levels that allows Adrian Peterson to jump around. This is what Dom Capers was looking for, that straight line approach.
Dom, head coach at Carolina when they came into the league, and then the head coach at the Houston Texans when they were born in 2002. Second and 8, and checks it off underneath. Peterson slips and then gets tackled by Ryan after a gain of a couple, and now you got a little action along the sideline. There's only 2 white shirts in amongst about 9 green. So that's going to make it 3rd down and 8 when everybody gets back to normal behavior. A little under 10 minutes to play in the half. 3-3 with first place. The championship in the NFC North at stake. Green Bay has been in this position in each of the last 3 seasons. A Week 17 game against a division opponent to determine the champion. 3rd and 7, and look out, slicing through, avoiding the initial sack. It was Matthews who came in and he created it. And then Peppers follows it up, and it's quite the combo right there. Matthews and Peppers, look out.
2 veteran guys working together on this one. You'll see coming out and then looping back around right here. And by working together, Julius Peppers really sacrificed his own rush to set up Clay Matthews. Matthews missed, and then Peppers got the sack himself. So pretty tough when those 2 guys are on the same side of the line of scrimmage to block them.
In a few years, we'll be looking at 2 guys who have busts in the Hall of Fame. You would think. Both on their way. Fair catch call for 19-yard line by Micah Hyde. So with 8:41 to go in the opening half, Green Bay has the ball at home. The 3-3 tie on Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers, of course, a spectacular career, took over as the starter in 2008. You look at that last year on the deep balls, 20 yards or more downfield. Tremendous numbers. To Randall Cobb last year, 3 touchdowns, and this year not even a completion. To James Jones, first 10 games, and then the last 5 games, big difference there. So he's been throwing deep, but with no effectiveness, basically.
And no Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson, there he is. Look at the numbers from last year. 98 catches, 1,519 yards, and 13 touchdowns. And basically Randall Cobb just barely below that. So that teamwork was the difference last year.
Lacey goes nowhere. Of course, Jordy Nelson, their #1 guy, their deep threat. He and Rodgers, a tremendous combination through the seasons. Tore his knee up in preseason and injured reserve all year. Rehabbing now, and of course they hope to have him back as healthy as ever next season.
Yeah, the first pair of teammates with 90+ catches, 1,200+ yards, and 12 touchdowns on the same team, and obviously it's been nowhere close to that this year.
2-to-1 ratio runs to passes. There's a little dump off, and that will go absolutely nowhere as Eddie Lacy makes the catch, and Kenrick Ellis is right there to make the tackle. So it was 2nd and 12. That's a loss of 7. 3rd and 19.
They were really nervous about the screen passes here. Here's Anthony Barr, who I think is one of the more complete linebackers playing in the game. He's a good rusher, plays the run well, one of the top coverage linebackers around. Spelled that one out the entire way. But they were really nervous about Eddie Lacy and James Starks getting in the open field on those screen passes. So a lot of focus this week in practice.
4-man rush on 3rd and 19, and Rodgers with that shoulder shake has time, throws. Lacy makes the catch and gets bottled up at the 24-yard line. Here comes the punting group.
That was a nice tackle in the open field by Eric Kendricks there, who probably is as athletic at middle linebacker as there is in the game. But here was Lacey, who's going to get the ball right in front of him, and really Barr misses first. And if Kendricks doesn't make that tackle, he might have picked up that first down.
Barr and Kendricks teammates at UCLA.
Kendricks said he was a clean one. They were roommates at UCLA as well.
Haven't heard the rebuttal yet. And now on 4th down and 5. Now I'm just looking at the sticks here. It's going to be very close. If Matt Asiata came across the line, which he did not.
Number 59. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Well, they call it on Green Bay. The center rocked the ball is what it amounted to, and that's Rick Lovato, and they just picked him up off the street a couple of weeks ago because their top guy Good got hurt. So Lovato, who was working in his family's delicatessen a couple of weeks ago, cost him 5 yards. It's no baloney. Here's Marcus Sherrills at the 34, and out of bounds at the 44-yard line.
Get you a cup of coffee.
6.5 left in the half. 3-3. Golf Tour back. Tournament of Champions coming up from Hawaii. Beginning Thursday on Golf Channel. Continuing next week on the NBC. Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Jason Day. Winners only field. Golf 2016 underway on NBC next weekend. From the 43, the Minnesota Vikings begin this drive. They've had one big play tonight, and that was the fake punt that was good for 41 yards. Apart from that, they've gained only 50 yards in the game. And here's a pass that's caught for a first down by Thielen. He's the guy that took it 41 yards. On the fake, Demarius Randall makes the tackle, first down.
They've got Morgan Burnett right down here, and I think they're playing man coverage when they went run fake away, enabled the tight end to sneak out into flat here. He dropped coverage thinking it was some kind of a run away, and that's the power really of Adrian Peterson right there. You have to drop safeties down to help in the running game, and sometimes you can get a little lost down there on play action fakes. They're going to try and take advantage of that with these linebackers all night.
First down, Bridgewater flanked by McKinnon. Shoots it out to McKinnon, and McKinnon down the sideline. Should pick up a first down. Nick Perry with the coverage on the play, but Teddy able to find him quickly. Moves the change.
Well, that's exactly what we're talking about right there. Nick Perry here is going to try and come up and get a shot on the tight end, but when he does that, it allows McKinnon to sneak out in the flat very quickly. The New England Patriots, the other team I think about, that they always want to get a shot on those tight ends going down the field, but sometimes it can distract you in coverage.
Two Vikings on the field right there. Haven't seen Diggs, the rookie wide receiver. He hasn't caught a pass yet tonight. And Adrian Peterson works his way to the 23-yard line. Second down.
This is a good run blocking team. There's no question about it. Watch these guys up front here. Joe Berger, the center. Brandon Fusco. This is just straight ahead. Zach Line, it's a good name for a fullback, just blasted his way right through there as well. They're really attacking the interior here and staying with the run in a way they did not in the first game.
2nd and 7. And Peterson gets tripped up at the 20-yard line. Well, Norv Turner has been around a long time. Zimmer just checking out with a flag coming out at the end of that play. Coming in late. There is Norv on the right, head coach at Washington and Oakland and San Diego. Now in the second season with Mike
After
Zimmer.
The play was over. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Defense number 52. Half to the goal. Automatic first down.
And that is Clay Matthews. Here it is.
We'll stay with it here. Here he is. Mike Harris, oh, really good block. Kind of gets his arms wrapped around. Now all that's probably okay, and whatever happens next, I'm going to guess is not. A little shot to the back of the head, and I think that was enough.
Correct. half the distance, moves the ball to the, not quite to the 10. They could get a first down without a touchdown at about the 6-inch line. And here goes Peterson, and he'll always draw a crowd. You know, a couple will be second down.
And you'll see the Vikings do that quite a bit. Red Ellison is sort of their second blocking fullback, when they'll start him outside the formation a lot of times, but realizing that when the Packers come in with that extra safety drop down or whatever, they need an extra blocker. So you'll see the tight end, Red Ellison, move into the backfield and be an additional blocker.
That's Ellison again, coming into the slot. And Bridgewater gets chased and then just flings it away. Mike Neal put the heat on. That'll make it 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, that time Morgan Burnett was all over it. It's so difficult sometimes to not get your full focus on Adrian Peterson. That time Burnett saw it all the way, bootleg coming out, and Teddy Bridgewater did the right thing, just throwing it away.
3-3 with 3.5 to go here. McKinnon in the game. Who's their guy on 3rd down?
Looks like a zone. They've got McKinnon split out, so not the man coverage we might expect.
And Bridgewater gets chased, and then jumping on top of him is Matthews at the 14-yard line. So Clay gets the penalty, half the distance to the goal line, then winds up with the sack at the end. It's 4th down, and they'll try to make it a 6-3 game.
And Clay Matthews going against his former teammate at USC. He was a freshman, Matt Khalil was, when Clay Matthews was a senior. And so, I don't know how to say this, but Clay Matthews had a little smile on his face when I asked him about Matt Khalil. He said, I think I'll do all right against him.
32-yard attempt. Blair Walsh puts it through. And so Minnesota takes the lead for the second time in the game. 6-3 Vikings on Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Subway and the turkey breast sandwich with no artificial preservatives. By BMW, we only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. And by USAA, join us at salutetoservice.com. Well, this is quite the rivalry. Of course, you can drive between Minneapolis and Green Vegas in about 5 hours or so. So many gigantic names have dotted the history of this rivalry. Of course, we had Brett Favre here on Thanksgiving night, and they put his name up on the Ring of Honor, and he will be inducted into Canton next August. Touchback here.
Well, Randall Cobb certainly was expected with Jordy Nelson out to become sort of the lead dog with these receivers, but he's had a tough time here tonight. There's Harrison Smith. Watch him one more time. Watch this. Almost like Harrison Smith knew what Randall Cobb was going to do on the double move there. And then a little bit of a double team as well. Daniil Hunter, one of the good pass rushers, 6 sacks on the year, back in coverage on that one. So they are taking away the middle of the field quite a bit more as they're playing much more of this press and man coverage on the outside. That lack of the deep threat on the outside is creating more coverage inside against Cobb.
The pass is taken here by Devontae Adams, and Adams is able to spin away and out to the 44-yard line on his first catch of the night. Broke away from Terrence Newman. Well, when they lost Jordy Nelson, they thought, okay, we've got Randall Cobb. He's a big play guy. We've got Adams in his second year. He's ready to come on, but that hasn't been the case.
And they really expected him in his second year to make that big jump. Had the big playoff game against Dallas, but then got hurt this year and hasn't really stepped up.
24 there. Dump it off to Starks, and he gets tackled immediately by Barr. That's just about the line of scrimmage. It'll be second down.
Well, let's take one more look out here at Josh Sitton, the converted guard going up against Everson Griffin. You see Griffin there, those good pass rushers. They know how to take those hands and push them straight down, and that forces those tackles to lean forward, and that's how they get leverage to come around.
Second down and 11. That takes us to the 2-minute warning. NFC North title at stake on Sunday night, 6-3, Minnesota. time. Should the Patriots be worried? Well, they're not the #1 seed. Denver is. Seahawks, of course, a team to be feared in the NFC playoffs. They'll be one of these teams next week. And Bob, on Denver's decision, of course, Peyton Manning came into the game, led them to a win today over San Diego. And Denver, which last Monday night had the possibility of winding up out of the playoffs, is the #1 seed in the AFC. Crazy stuff. Second down and 11 at the 43-yard line for the Packers. Starks in the backfield. Showing blitz, here they come. They get to Rodgers, and the pass is incomplete, but flags come in. Intended for Jones. You got Newman covering him. Terrence in his 13th season in the league. Dallas, Cincinnati, and now here.
Pass interference. Defense number 23. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
I think he would have gotten away with this had he not grabbed James Jones at the very end. Let's see this. Kind of hard to see from that angle, but I thought he grabbed that arm just a little bit. But you see the presence that these cornerbacks have now. They're right in the face of the Green Bay receivers. And in years gone by, nobody would have done that. You couldn't get away with that. They would have just kept throwing the ball deep on you. But this year, it's been the defensive choice against them.
Spread it out here. Flip it to Starks. Starks takes the ball to the 39-yard line. That's a gain of 6. Second down and 4.
You can tell that Aaron Rodgers is trying to be patient and trying to be a team guy and say, okay, I get it. This is a run-first team now and all those sorts of things. We don't have that deep threat with Jordy that we used to have, but I also think it wears on him a little.
9-11-72. Another short pass, and that's dropped by Cobb. Started to look downfield before he looked it into his hands, and it's 3rd and 4 with a minute and a half to play.
Boy, and it's just those little things, isn't it? You know, when you're going well as an offense, all those things sort of just, you catch that ball, you pick up that first down, and then sometimes as a team you just start pressing. And right now, the Vikings are doing a good job taking away the middle of the field and winning the battle one-on-one outside.
3rd and 4. Caught, but a tackle made immediately, and then the ball is juggled, but the play is over. That's Sendejo, but the play is dead. Eric Kendricks was there. Richard Rodgers made the catch. Take a look again to see if that play was dead. Of course, there are no challenges.
The ruling on the field with runners down by contact.
In the last 2 minutes, it would have to be overturned.
I think the elbow hit. Let's see.
Hand
wrist,
down.
hand, forearm.
The wrist is down.
You know, there's that cutoff point there between the hand being down and the forearm being down, and I think the Vikings are saying, why don't we take a look at that? That might be our ball.
Yeah. Timeout is taken here by Minnesota. It has to be stopped from upstairs because there's no challenges in the last 2 minutes of either half.
Yeah, but I think that coaches, don't you sometimes say, well, let me just give them a chance to take one more look at it here.
Without question.
I'll tell you, that was some play, though, by Eric Kendricks. He is so fast out of that middle linebacker position. He was 3 or 4 yards inside Richard Rodgers at the snap of that ball and just ran him down. It looked like it was going to be a first down. My understanding is the hand, it's okay for the hand to be down.
But the wrist, right.
The forearm, the elbow, and wherever that cutoff point is.
Does he even catch it? I mean, is it, well, it's another thing they could be looking at. They will stitch it together. Love the answer when we come back. Still looking at it now. The wrist is actually considered part of the hand. So if the wrist created the fumble or the loose ball, then it would be a fumble. If it's the forearm that creates it,
so that's the wrist, and it's out. But the question in my mind now is, was his calf on the ground? See if we can see this.
So if they rule it a fumble, it'll be Minnesota's ball at that spot, even though Sendejo came up with it. And yeah, he made a clear recovery.
It would have been a clear touchdown, too, if they hadn't blown it dead.
Would have been.
They're going to. And there's that. See, I think that as that calf rolled on the ground, it was just before the ball popped out. I don't know.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. 4th down.
I think that's the right call.
Yep.
I do. There was enough there that it could have been, but there was also enough there was some doubt, and you're supposed to be clear, and I didn't think that was.
Coulda, mighta, woulda, shoulda. Instead, it's 4th down. So the ball at the 40. Green Bay will line up to go for it here.
Maybe.
Yeah. 5-4. They put Starks in the game, and that will be the tailback spot, offset. 4th and 5. Blitz coming. Rodgers stepping away, going deep and incomplete, out of bounds. James Jones was there. Xavier Rhodes covering on the play, so they'll turn the ball over at the 40-yard line. And Minnesota gets it with 2 timeouts.
Once again, Xavier Rhodes. Remember, Al, what they were telling us early in the year? That Xavier Rhodes had really lost some confidence. He had gotten some pass interference calls against him early in the year, decided he was going to back off. The officials were making those calls, and now Zimmer's got him right back up there. And I tell you, that was pretty close as well. He got his hands right against the hands as a former receiver. I can tell you, it's impossible to catch that one when they're smacking your wrist as the ball is coming into your hands.
Now the Vikings start from their own 40-yard line. And Bridgewater to the sideline and incomplete. That was Diggs, who's had a really good rookie season. 5th-round pick out of Maryland, been a very pleasant surprise, but hasn't caught a ball tonight.
Yeah, pretty amazing for a guy that was the 21st wide receiver drafted, and only Amari Cooper has more receiving yards than does Stephon Diggs. Quite a find. And we've been talking quite a bit about the cornerbacks for the Minnesota Vikings, but these 2 rookies on the outside, Demarius Randall and Quentin Rollins, have held out pretty darn well against these Viking receivers too.
They have. Interesting to note, Trey Waynes was #1 draft choice of Minnesota, but he's pretty much a special teamer, at least in his rookie season. And that is caught near midfield. That is McKinnon. He'll take it close to the 50. Burnett makes the tackle, and Minnesota will use its 2nd timeout. And that will be a 1st down. Well, people affected by severe weather that we've all been hearing about, and there of course is visual evidence. Other disasters need help now to support those impacted by the severe weather in Illinois, Missouri, Texas, countless other crises. You can text Red Cross to 90999 to give $10 or whatever you can afford to American Red Cross disaster relief.
Good people there in the Red Cross. They deserve your support.
Blair Walsh hoping to get a chance to extend the Minnesota lead. 34 seconds, 1 timeout for the Vikings. And Bridgewater steps up in the pocket, has it batted. It'll be 2nd down. It took 5 seconds, down to 29 ticks.
You know, one of the problems really for Teddy Bridgewater, and we sort of highlighted it last week, but very low release. He's not a 6'5" kind of guy, and all these defensive linemen know it. So if they're not getting immediate pressure, they're getting those hands up, and that was a good thing because Jarius Wright was about to pop open over the middle of the field, and that would have been in field goal range.
Second and 10. Matthews firing in through the middle, and he gets to Bridgewater, forcing him to throw it away. So it looked like they had 2 or 3 guys on Clay Matthews, but he still was able to bull his way in there. 3rd down.
Well, they're working together again. Again, they'll stunt inside so that Clay Matthews has room to work inside, and he goes right through Khalil here and Brandon Fusco. And once again, once you get into those situations where you've got to drop back and throw the ball, this is the 2nd straight game that Clay Matthews and company have been a little too dominant with the pass rush.
3rd and 10 with 23 seconds. 4-man rush. Matthews almost got there again. Instead, it's caught, but not for a first down. Stephon Diggs. It's 4th down now. Micah Hyde makes the tackle. And Minnesota
3rd and final
will
timeout.
use its last timeout.
Minnesota.
So they have a 4th down and 2. They don't make it. You give Rodgers probably one shot at a Hail Mary if they so choose.
One more shot here by Matthews. This time he stays the outside and gets a hand on Bridgewater, but not enough. And, you know, for Blair Walsh, the field goal kicker, this would be, what, 60-ish?
60, yeah.
You know, it's a guy that had 2 over 50 a week ago. He is the special teams player of the week, 5 for 5 last week. And really calling the timeout here at 15 seconds. If the Vikings had let that thing run down to under 4 or 5 seconds, right, then you could take that shot and not have to worry about giving Aaron Rodgers the ball right here.
Right, you don't want to try it and miss it, and then you give Rodgers the ball at the 50. So it's 4th and 2. They're out of timeouts. If they convert, they're going to have to get out of bounds or get up quickly and spike it to allow for a field goal try.
Peppers rushing inside of Matthews again.
Yep. He repositions Peterson. Now you got 1 on the clock.
They're just going to punt that. Yeah, I think I would have played that one a little differently with the clock. Would have liked to have at least taken a shot at that 60-yarder.
You kick a 60-yarder at Lambeau.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
It's not bad tonight. It's 26 degrees, but the wind is negligible. So Locke is in. You got Micah Hyde inside his 10-yard line. And Hyde will call for a fair catch and make it at the 17 with just 8 seconds left. 2002, they had the realignment, the NFC North, and the division titles since 2002. The Vikings, a couple of championships. The Bears have won 3. And there you go. All those banners belonging to the Green Bay Packers, a total of 8, including 4 in a row. Mike McCarthy's now been the coach for 10 seasons. It's the 8th time he has taken this team to the playoffs. 7 in a row. And of course, they'll either be here next week against Minnesota, or they will be in Washington. Seahawks and Redskins just watching tonight to see who they will meet next week. End of the first half with the score Minnesota 6, Green Bay 3. Packers get the second half kickoff. Next up, the Toyota halftime after these messages.
Tonight's first half highlights are brought to you by Nationwide, official sponsor of the NFL.
A lot of history has been made here, Lambeau Field. It's 26 degrees. It feels like it's 16.
Oh, here we go.
So they're going to fake it, and they're going to get the first down. And Mike Zimmer goes to his bag of tricks. Look out. It's quite the combo right there, Matthews and Peppers.
Nationwide is on your side.
Down to the final half of the regular season. The score is Minnesota 6, Green Bay 3. On this frosty night at Lambeau, Teddy Bridgewater, 7 out of 15. He's been sacked 3 times tonight. Aaron Rodgers, meanwhile, 10 of 14. That's pretty good, but only 71 yards, so about 5 yards per pass attempt. Adrian Peterson has won the rushing title, but he has been limited tonight to less than 3 yards per tote. And the winner gets to stay home next week. Either the Packers beat the Vikings here, or the Vikings meet Seattle in Minneapolis. Meanwhile, Washington knows they are home, and the Redskins will be taking on somebody next week. Green Bay loses. It will be Green Bay.
Only 11.5 football games left in this season. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
11 playoff games. And the half of this one, or maybe overtime. Who knows? We start with a touchback And we go down to Michelle.
Well, the big story coming into this game, of course, was Green Bay's offensive line. I talked to Mike McCarthy at halftime, and he's pretty pleased with the way it's been going. He said there were some mental errors, but overall likes what Sitton and Lane Taylor have done for him there on the left side. What he does want to see is better conversion on third down. And Dayton Jones, speaking defensively now, left the first half a little bit early, went in. He is questionable with a neck injury, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So the Green Bay Packers, in fact, the Vikings trying to each get something really going offensively. 104 total yards for Green Bay and 143 total yards for Minnesota in the opening half. First down from 20. Start with a draw. And this is Lacey getting out to the 25-yard line. Eddie Lacey tonight has carried the ball a total of 9 times for 31 yards.
It really is a different looking offense, though, isn't it? I mean, 8 points last week in that game in Arizona, just 3 in the first half here. And I mean, we've seen them come in here and score, 30 points and a half before.
Different looking offense there, as well as Everson Griffin is able to pick up another tackle for a loss with a little help from the turf.
Well, you don't see a lot of this at guard, and for Josh Sitton, he sets outside, and Everson Griffin pulled a Clay Matthews there and zipped by him on the inside.
And they go no huddle here, and the catch is not made to 32. Could have been too many men on the field here as Green Bay got right up to the line of scrimmage. It was a 3rd down and 10.
12 men on defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
And that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers wanted. He wanted that penalty. But that's not an automatic 1st down. It's a 5-yard penalty. There it is right there. Number 73, Floyd, can't get off the field on time. But it does turn a 3rd and 10 into a 3rd and 5.
And give a little credit to Xavier Rhodes down the field, because that could have been a 1st down on about the 30 on their end of the field. So that was another just one-on-one shot with a free play from Aaron Rodgers, but it was Rhodes who came up with the big play.
3rd and 5. Green Bay is 1 out of 6 on 3rd down conversions tonight.
Here's that linebacker mug package that I think is the signature, really, for Mike Zimmer's style of defense.
How many will come? 6. Cobb makes the catch, and the fine tackle, gang tackles made there. Sendeo, the first guy to stand him up, and they stop him short of the 1st down.
Yeah, and it's exactly what happened. Eric Kendricks was in there looking like he was going to blitz, and then he fired out that to the outside and made sort of the saving tackle here against Cobb. But just as it looked like Cobb was going to break free, Kendricks drove him straight backwards. I tell you, I'm really impressed with Eric Kendricks. I know he's a rookie and he doesn't have all the savvy and all the stuff yet, but he is going to be a fine player.
2nd round pick out of UCLA, and you've got a bad punt here off the foot of Mastay. Crowd boos. They'll mark it at the 42-yard line. That is a 29-yard boot, giving the Vikings good field position on their first possession of the 3rd quarter.
There was a time when Clay Matthews was known simply as a pass rusher, no more, although certainly he's had an impact in this game rushing the passer. But playing that middle linebacker position, I don't think he's particularly crazy about doing it, but he's forced into coverage. This year he has been in coverage 50% of the time, but when he gets a chance to do this, get on the end of the line of scrimmage and rush the passer and do the flying act and sacks and all that, I think that's when he's happiest.
With emphasis. First possession for Minnesota in the half, the fake to Peterson. And Bridgewater slings one to the sideline, and that is incomplete. Intended for Jarius Wright. Maybe they're going to call it complete. He calls it inbounds, complete to him for a gain of 11 yards. There was the figures right there on Matthews.
Yeah, the number just keeps going up. And the great thing about Clay Matthews, I was so happy he made the Pro Bowl this year with just 6 sacks. It shows some sophistication on the part of the voters, knowing that he switched positions and is still having that kind of impact.
From the 47, here's Peterson. Through the middle he goes, and that should be a first down when he gets up or close enough to it at the 37-yard line.
Here's what happens when you get a good double team. You get different levels, which gives Peterson a chance to go one high, one low, and then just jump between those. It is really fun to watch his patience. But remember, he's like 220-something pounds. Clay Matthews get knocked back that time on that one by T.J. Clemens. But his ability to stop and re-accelerate, fun to watch.
Works his way through the maze, and now coming around to Thielen with that big gain on the fake punt in the first quarter, and another big gainer for him here out of bounds near the 10-yard line. Beautifully designed play. Norv Turner calling it in, and Thielen that time for a gain of 26 yards.
Oh, Norv coming up with one. I've seen the jet sweep before, but this was like an in and out. And then watch Rhett Ellison, number 85, get out in front of this thing and get the big block on the outside against Demarius Randall. Boy, Thielen's had a night, hasn't he?
Yeah. It's like a prop sweep right there, right?
A what?
A propeller sweep.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, I got you.
From the 11-yard line, 1st and 10. Peterson, a little hurdle move, and gets taken out of bounds. He jumped over Demarius Randall. Clinton Dix rides him to the boundary. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
Boy, I tell you, it's so tough on these cornerbacks when they look at Adrian Peterson. They're just looking for something to grab out there, and they do a great job. That time it was Jarius Wright who came down and was helping inside on some of the safeties. But you just don't see guys in the open field tackle Adrian Peterson. Maybe that has something to do with him being the rushing champion.
A little 2nd down and 5. And again, that fake toss. And Peterson burrows his way to the 3-yard line. Clinton Dixon on that tackle. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Yeah, you can tell the Green Bay Packers have really built this defense around trying to stop guys like Adrian Peterson. They have Clinton Dix, and they have Morgan Burnett, 2 excellent tacklers back there at the safety position. And they really don't care which one of those guys comes down around the line of scrimmage.
Bridgewater out of the short gun to Peterson, and Adrian Peterson with a burst. They signal touchdown. So Adrian will look like he was stopped at just about the 1-yard line. Extra burst and the touchdown. I'll take a peek at it to confirm. Adrian Peterson with what will be, if it's confirmed, the first touchdown of the game.
Take a look. The front, very front edge. Does he cross the plane? No question. That's a touchdown. Remember, he does not have to cross the goal line. You just take that very front edge. Clay Matthews thought he had him, and then all of a sudden, I think it was T.J. Clemens that came around and got him. If this is a run-blocking game, the advantage goes to the Minnesota Vikings. If it's a pass-blocking game, advantage goes to the Green Bay Packers.
Peterson into the end zone now. Blair Walsh, who is one of the better kickers in the league, but somehow, some way, has missed 4 extra points this season. Go figure.
And I'm a little surprised he wants to kick these from the right hash. Generally, right-footed kickers want to sort of hook that ball in, and they like it off the left hash.
Right.
Maybe he just wants to line up with that right goalpost and let it do its work.
Or do you want to put it on the tee box, huh? Well. And the kick is good. So, with 10.5 to go in the 3rd quarter, all of a sudden the Minnesota Vikings, trying to get a home game next weekend, are up 13-3. That Minnesota offensive line mentioned earlier, it's the only team in the league that has started the same 5 offensive linemen in every game this season, helping to pave the way for the first touchdown of the game. 6 plays on that last drive, and 5 of them were runs. And Walsh sends a ground ball down to the 1-yard line. Jeff Janis still going. Tackled at the 27-yard line.
A little credit to George Edwards and Mike Zimmer for coming up with this defensive game plan. Play those corners up. Get them in the face of these receivers. The receivers have not been winning the battles all season long. Doesn't matter who it is. Terrence Newman, Xavier Rhodes, both having success on the outside. And then it allows you to leave more people in the middle of the field. Plenty of underneath coverage is taking away all those crossing routes that you see from Aaron Rodgers so often, and somebody down.
Injured Viking, and that is Thielen, I believe it is.
Tonight's hero.
Yeah. Oh boy, he said the two big plays for them. One on the fake punt, the other on the sweep.
And he's really a crowd favorite in Minnesota because he went to Minnesota State right where they hold training camp at Mankato.
Second-year guy, signed as a free agent. So he walks over to the bench, and now the Green Bay Packers will begin this drive from the 27. There is Terrence Newman, 190 career games. He stays with Zimmer. He was with Zimmer in Dallas. He went with Zimmer to Cincinnati. Now with Mike in Minnesota. And, you know, speaking of guys who are a little long in the tooth at cornerback, to Charles Woodson. Our congratulations on a spectacular career. Wrapped it up today with the Oakland Raiders. Of course, a guy who spent so much of his time here in Green Bay. Out of the pistol this time, Lacey, and he gets tackled at the line of scrimmage. But you look at Woodson, a little pushy shovey here, Chris, and started his career with Oakland. They're Thielen getting worked on. Won the Heisman Trophy, of course, did Charles at Michigan. Mike McCarthy had the pleasure of coaching him for a few seasons.
I think one of the smarter guys that has ever played in the National Football League. He's one of those guys that doesn't say a whole lot, but when he talks, the whole room goes silent. Everybody wants to know what's on his mind. Played so many roles here with this defense.
Rodgers flushed out. His eyes downfield next to the 28, Randall Cobb making the tackle, but a very short gain. Greenway is there, and that will make it 3rd down and 9 for the Packers.
I just keep looking down the field, and my brain wants to go, all right, they're going to hit a bomb here in a minute, or a post, or they're going to hit something. And I think what's happened to them, Al, is because those deep balls haven't been there this year, defensive backs are getting cockier and cockier about coming up and playing in their face and taking away these short throws, so even the short throws aren't there now.
Can't get anybody deep. They've also dropped a lot of balls this year. Running a different kind of offense as Rodgers again looks downfield and then just has to throw that one away. Sharif Floyd makes the catch along the sideline, and well, that's a sound you don't hear very often at Lambeau Field.
Watch this right here. You got a little spy going on here, so they know Aaron Rodgers is going to be on the move, so they leave Brian Robinson right there, and he's just going to pursue Aaron Rodgers wherever he goes, not allow him to run. So I got you, big guy.
Well, the crowd had a sound going, and it wasn't cool. Match day. Backing up. Charles at the 23. Flag comes down at the end. Ryan makes the tackle after a run back of about 13 yards. And Bill Vinovich will take the microphone in a moment.
Super Bowl referee, right?
He did a nice job last year.
Did.
You can always say that he refereed one of the great Super Bowls of all time.
Illegal blocking it back. Receiving team number 51. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Minnesota keeps the ball. First down.
Keep the ball. 8:42 to go. Third quarter. 13-3. Brief look at the seedings. Now, if the Vikings win, they're the 3 seed. If the Packers win, they are the 3 seed. But Seattle is the team that if the Vikings win, they go to 6. But if the Packers win, they go to 5. So Seattle doesn't know where they're going next week. Neither do these teams at this particular point, even though one of them knows they'll be at home and the other knows they're going to be on the road as we head down the stretch. Ball at the 23. And the Vikings begin this drive with a Peterson run. You know, Chris, you look at the league this year, how crazy it is. I mean, the season starts. Green Bay looks great. Denver looks great. New England looks fabulous. Now all of a sudden, Green Bay doesn't look so good. New England doesn't look so good. Denver, which had an opportunity to be like every seed, including out, is now number 1 in the AFC. Crazy year.
Where are you now? That's always the question. My buddy Mike Battaglia, who sets the morning line for the Kentucky Derby, he says pay attention to the last 3 races only. Don't get caught up in those that happened a year ago. And I think he's right. Where are you today? And if you say where are you today, Minnesota Vikings are playing pretty well right now. You know, I mean, there's some teams that are hot right now.
Infraction. Defense number 64. 5-yard penalty. Results in a first down.
Mike Pennell. It's Mike Battaglia into the stretch they come, and we're in the stretch run right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think Zimmer, this is such a young team. What do they have, 8, 9, 10, something like that, rookies on this team? And yet here they are in this big clutch game on the road, and they're playing really solid collective football.
That's the first down off the penalty. Peterson. What about in terms of turnarounds? What about Kansas City? Terrible start. Lose Jamal Charles. Win 10 in a row.
Yeah, and run the football the whole way. You know, Andy Reid's one of those guys that I think is built for today's game. You know, you can't get frustrated with guys whose personality drives you crazy, right? In the NFL, you're going to get some colorful characters. And Andy has a way of just kind of, okay, yeah, you're going to be like that. All right, just show up, play on Sunday. And it keeps working for him, no matter where he is.
2nd and 7. From the 37-yard line, Bridgewater out of the pocket, steps out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. We go to Michelle.
Well, you just saw Bridgewater run, and Mike Zimmer told me at halftime he wants Bridgewater to be more patient. He said, we've had receivers open, but Teddy's been too quick to scramble out of the pocket. Now, they've been using a lot of the run here to start the second half. That may be helping. Meanwhile, wide receiver Adam Thielen is questionable with a shoulder injury, guys, and Dayton Jones for the Packers has been downgraded to out with a neck injury.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Thielen's had 2 big plays tonight. 3rd down and 5 now. Bridgewater has completed 8 of 16 for 91 yards. And he gets it away, and it's going to be picked off at the 43-yard line.
A catch.
Micah Hyde. So Bridgewater, they were surrounding him. They had contacted him. Mike Neal comes in, flips it, and has it picked off.
All right, Al, remember your famous line? He did what?
Yeah.
Watch this catch. This is a backhanded, I don't know what this is, like a highlight catch or something. Watch this thing.
Meanwhile, Bridgewater throws it left-handed.
Now watch this back into this thing. One hand, backhanded, wraps it back around his wrist and hangs on to it. That's insane.
He's just been signed by the National Highlight League.
Wow. Sometimes I think I see things that these guys do, and I go, nah, that didn't just happen. And for Teddy Bridgewater, he knows he blew that one. That's going to be a long walk over to his head coach, Mike Zimmer.
The previous play is under review. Timeout.
All turnovers reviewed. The final judgment when we come back.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It's an interception. First down, Green Bay.
Little doubt. He just took a look at it, and there's no question that Hyde kept it off the ground. And terrible play here. Left-handed, just trying to dump it, and a great interception.
Well, the reason Teddy Bridgewater has been so good, especially in the last 3 games, is he just doesn't make foolish plays. He made one there.
And at a time when Green Bay needs a break, they're down by 2 possessions, 6.5 to go in the third. Can they cash in? Lacey takes the ball to the 39-yard line. That's a dozen carries for him. He started that pretty hot, had an 11-yard gain early, but only 30 yards total for him. That's 2.5 per tote.
Yeah, such a big fan of Adrian Peterson. He said, sometimes I sit over there and watch him play, and I'm so excited. I say, I want him to break a long one. Then I got to remember, well, not against us.
2nd and 6. Lacey again. Setting up a 3rd and 2, another gain of 4 yards for Eddie there. McCarthy calling plays since the Dallas game about a month ago. 24th in the league are the Packers. Last year they led the league in scoring.
You know, in the first 6 games, Aaron Rodgers, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 116 rating. The last 9 games, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. The rating drops to 82. So when the good weather turned, so did this offense.
Yeah, Rodgers couldn't get everybody aligned the right way, so he has to squander a timeout here.
Green Bay.
With 5:13 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. By Nissan, innovation that excites. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Pro Football Hall of Fame, you take a look at the busts. You can visit when you go to Canton, Ohio. There's some pretty big names.
So great to see Bart Starr here that on Brett Favre's night, and he came back for that, and you know he wasn't feeling so well. I don't know if anybody represented the game better than Bart Starr did. To this day, he didn't feel well, but he felt like it was the right thing to do for this organization and for Brett, and he made it out here. It's just tremendous.
Yeah, Bart battling through a lot of stuff, and not only that, it was a terrible night, cold and rainy. Out to the middle of the field he came, and of course he got a huge ovation. 3rd down and 2 now after the timeout from the 35. From the pistol, Lacy cuts it back and is able to, with a flag down for the moment, gets a 1st down before he gets thrust out of bounds. And no flag at the end of the play, but one early on. Here's Vinovich.
Offense number 63. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
The center, Corey Lindsley. So a 3rd and 2 now becomes a 3rd and long.
Boy, and just about the time you get something going, then you get somebody else hurt. There's Kendrick Ellis down. But you get a big play, you get a great effort by somebody like Eddie Lacy, and then it's holding back the other way. See if we can see there's 63 right in front of you. When Lacy cut back, I couldn't tell if somebody laid on his leg as much as, I don't know. These officials have such a tough job trying to see what it was that actually brought him to the ground, and sometimes it's something they don't see. But
well, Ellis is the guy that was held.
Sometimes when a guy goes to the ground that fast, somebody hit his leg or something happens as well, and it can look like something. But anyway, that's a heck of an effort by Lacy.
So back to go to the 45-yard line, 3rd down and 12.
Boy, and after that turnover, you need to turn this into something. This needs to be a momentum-building event. We've just seen Aaron Rodgers make so many great plays right here. Now you go, all right, who is it? Who's going to make that play for them right now? And Jordy's not there. You need Cobb, but there's a cluster in the middle of the field, and they can't win outside.
3rd and 12. Looks over, then he gets his arm hit as he throws.
Is that a fumble?
Yeah, now the Vikings are contending it is. For the moment, you've got Captain Munnerlyn going all the way to the end zone. And we're waiting for one official to say yay or nay here. So Rodgers clearly had his arm hit. Was it coming forward is the question.
Is that ball loose? Because if he pushes that ball forward after it's loose, I think that's a fumble. And I'll tell you who else did. Aaron Rodgers took off running immediately.
Recovered by Minnesota for a touchdown.
So clearly it gets reviewed. The ball is coming loose. Coming around the corner was Everson Griffin, who leads them in sacks. He's had a terrific year. And by the look of Aaron Rodgers, he expects this one to stand. The call on the field.
Well, they call this, Al, the empty hand. It's not exactly empty, but once it's loose in his hand and he is just pushing the ball out,
right,
that counts.
It's the empty hand if he has the ball in his hand, but this time the ball was loose.
But the previous play is under review.
But you'll see Aaron Rodgers, as soon as this thing's over, he takes off to try to make the tackle.
They'll review. We think it'll stand. Back after this. You can tell by McCarthy's reaction that this one is going to stand. The ball is coming loose in Rodgers' hand. Here's
After
Vinovich.
reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The ball is loose and pushed forward by an open hand. Touchdown, Minnesota.
Right, the arm's coming forward and have control of the ball. That's one thing. But this is a ball that's loose and then being pushed forward. Thus, it's a fumble. It's created by Everson. Munnerlyn takes it in for the touchdown. And the Minnesota Vikings, with an extra point, will have a 3-possession lead.
What a defensive performance tonight by that guy, Everson Griffin, but the Vikings in general.
Extra point by Walsh makes it 20-3.
Josh Sitton being asked to play that left tackle position, and this has been a problem. Griffin gets there, and I don't think there's any question, and then Captain Munnerlyn picks it up. He left it on about the 5-yard line on an interception last week. Everybody on the team made fun of him, and then you saw him on the sideline all crowded around him doing like he was running kind of deal. So that was an extension of what happened a week ago. There's Griffin's going to make the play. Sitton took 1/2 step the other way to try and help his teammate, allowed Griffin out around the edge, and then Aaron Rodgers, he knew it.
So it's 20-3. The only thing that the Vikings have to be concerned about, well, Michelle's going to tell us right now.
Well, yeah, it's that Adrian Peterson just went back to the locker room. He is questionable with a lower back injury. He was spending a lot of time on the training table getting a full back exam. They did some massage and stretching to relax those lower back muscles, but to no avail. He has gone back to the locker room. We'll keep you posted.
All right, I'm sure you will. There's no question about that. Michelle, the rushing champion, so they send him back there. They have a 20-3 lead. It means McKinnon and Asiata will be the running backs. And with 4:28 remaining in the third, Blair Walsh kicks it deep into the end zone for a touchback. Well, coming up, a brand new show on NBC, and it will be premiering this coming Thursday, 10 Eastern and Pacific, 9 Central and Mountain. Ray Liotta among the performers in shades of blue right here on NBC.
Shades of blue in the stadium right now, too.
Shades of blue. We've been coming here for a lot of years, and that's a sound you don't hear very often.
You know, it's been fairly consistent. They've been losing more than they've been winning here lately, and especially it's been week 17. They knocked off Chicago, then they knocked off Detroit, and everybody said, oh, of course they're going to beat the Vikings here, but Vikings had other plans.
Slings it too high to the outside. If they lose this game, the Green Bay Packers will have lost 6 of their last 10 games. They would go to Washington next week and would have to win, in all likelihood, 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl.
I tell you, this defense for Minnesota is built in Mike Zimmer style. He's got another cornerback there, first-round draft pick, Trey Waynes, sitting and waiting, and he'll have him right. He's a bit of a cornerback whisperer, believe me. He gets him right.
Dump to Starks, and that'll be a first down out to the 33. I said in all likelihood, Green Bay would have to win 3 on the road. Actually, if they go on the road and they beat Washington, they go to the second round. The only way they could play another game here would be if Seattle also advanced to the championship game, because Green Bay would be the 5 and Seattle would be the 6.
And that would not be stunning.
No.
No way Seattle's playing right now.
First down at the 33-yard line. Rodgers this time protection pretty good. Nobody gets open. Second down.
These corners are really getting physical. Watch Xavier Rhodes here on James Jones. Maybe a little slip on the tail end of that thing. Terrence Newman on the other side, 37-year-old guy slips, and of course doesn't see that. Captain Munnerlyn on the inside. There were a couple of guys running open. It was just that Aaron chose the wrong way to look.
2nd and 10. Starks is going to cut it back. And straight ahead out to the 39-yard line. 4 yards shy of a first down flag down. Tell by McCarthy's reaction.
Holding. Offense through 71. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
That's Josh Sitton, who moves over to left tackle tonight.
Yeah, right on the tail end of this play. Watch what happens here to Anthony Barr. His Barr is going to break back the other way. And we were kind of, I wasn't joking about it, but earlier I said, you know, sometimes guards can get away with a little more than tackles can, because the tackles have these line judges that are looking right down the line, so they can't see the guards. They do see the tackles. And a guy who's used to playing inside, maybe not quite understanding that part of it.
You were joking about that, weren't you?
I always joke.
2nd and 18.
Yeah, but what I do is a joke.
From the 25.
There we go.
Rodgers going deep, and it's Jones making the catch. Got past Newman. Terrence Newman beaten on the play, and exactly what Green Bay needed at this point, something big to the 43.
Watch how James Jones holds the line. He doesn't fade too early to that ball. We saw some plays earlier in this game where they get to the boundary too soon. There's nowhere to throw the ball. Veteran receiver that time understood, stay inside, let Aaron Rodgers lead you to the outside.
Gain of 32. First down at the 43, under 3 to play in the quarter. Starks. Nice run there. Gain of 7 yards before Floyd and Hunter take him down. 2nd down and 3 upcoming. Mike Zimmer, whose pedigree is defense, and he is the head coach, but he also calls the defense.
He said from the beginning, he said, I wanted my team to know that I knew something. So I decided I was going to be the defensive play caller. I was going to at least let them know that I knew how to do something as a head coach.
So one head coach calls the plays offensively and the other defensively. 2nd down and 3. Starks wants to check with Rodgers out of the pistol, but it's tossed back to him. And Starks gets bottled up near the line of scrimmage. Big 3rd down coming up.
Boy, I like that young man, Eric Kendricks, in there. You know, it's a whole new age of athlete. And here's a guy that says he learned how to keep his balance on the football field by being a skateboarder. He used to skateboard all over, and then one year right before training camp in college, he tried a trick maybe beyond his means a bit and crashed and missed the beginning of camp and gave up the skateboard. But he is a new age middle linebacker. Can really run.
Loss of 1. It's going to be 3rd down and 4 from the 37-yard line. And Rodgers on a roll. Fires. No good. Intended for Jones along the sideline. Now what do you do? 4th down. You're down by 17. You've got 16 minutes left in the game.
Well, I think you have to go for it, don't you?
Yep, I agree. Definitely.
You take your shot right here, which is part of the reason sometimes if you know that going in, and I'm sure that Mike McCarthy did, you think about it in terms of 4-down territory. So you could have run it the last time to set up, you know, a 4th and 1 if you know you're going to go for it.
Three receivers bunch to the right. Caught over the middle, and that is Cobb, and he should have a first down, and does. He's tackled there by Rhodes. They needed 4, and they got exactly 4.
Richard Rodgers is going to come from the other side, and here's Cobb going to come on the crossing route. No real pick there by Richard Rodgers, but just enough to force Xavier Rhodes to go around him and give Randall Cobb enough room for the first.
Final minute of the quarter.
Box 5-4, box 5-4. 319.
Pointed out Kendricks. 5-4.
Nobody blocked him.
Yeah. James Starks to the 30-yard line. It's a gain of 3 yards.
And I tell you, this defensive line, they know how to do their job. When you have a speed inside linebacker, you want to keep those blockers off of them. And those guys up front have done a great job tonight occupying those guards inside and allowing Kendricks to run.
This is the 11th play of the drive. And it's been Starks who gets to the 26-yard line, and that's going to take us to the fourth quarter. 3rd and 3 when we come back. After 3, 20-3, Minnesota. Sunday Night Football back after this. And aerial coverage, as always, tonight being brought to you by Geico. I have of Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeFoya. Final quarter of the regular season. 78,000, of course. Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota are not that far away, so a lot of Viking fans always in attendance. Of course, nobody travels really like the Packers or the Pittsburgh Steelers, I guess, when they go on the road.
Fans everywhere. Another one of those 3rd down and 3. Again, you could run it here. I think Randall Cobb in the backfield now.
He is. That's Kuhn who and flanks out. Cobb goes into the slot. Through 5 receivers, all going out into the pattern, and Rodgers is going to pick up a first down on the ground with his legs to the 13-yard line, slipping away up the middle.
Again, they're coming up here on that mud blitz look, and then when both linebackers dropped out, Rodgers rightly took off with the football, and sometimes his runs can jumpstart this offense as much as his arm can.
Sets up at the 15. Hanging in there, this time going nowhere. To the 16-yard line he goes, a little slow in getting up, being a 1.
Here we are one more time, just a one-on-one press coverage. Xavier Rhodes, I don't know how comfortable he is with that, but his coach said, come on, let's go. Let's be aggressive in this game. Coverage across the board. And really, the Vikings have gotten away with playing 2 deep safeties behind that, and the Packers haven't been able to hurt them with the running game enough to get it out of them. Once again, 2 deep safeties back in the middle of the field.
2nd and 11 from the 16-yard line, and Rodgers. Boy, that secondary does its job again, but this time he finds Richard Rodgers, and he's in for the touchdown. Vikings say no. Rose was there to say he didn't get in, but that is the initial indication.
It was sort of an ad-lib play because it was held for so long, going to come up and cross over. Harrison Smith had him and then hesitated, I think, because maybe he thought Aaron Rodgers was going to run the ball again. Allowed Richard Rodgers to get to the edge, maybe.
Scoring play to be reviewed up in the air over the goal line, over the pylon. On a worst-case basis, it would be 1st and goal from about the 3-inch line.
Perfect protection that time. That's really what made that play.
So the tight end gets in to the end zone. Vinovich just waiting for the confirmation.
Tough.
As is McCarthy, as is the crowd. It is now confirmed. So touchdown. Now Crosby to try to make it 20-10. A minute and a half into the fourth quarter. So the Green Bay Packers, desperately needing a drive, go 80 yards, 14 plays, 6 runs, 8 passes, a big 4th down conversion on the pass to Cobb and the TD there, 20-10. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by the Kia Sorrento, built for football families, by Ride Along 2. Training day is over January the 15th. And by Verizon, better matters. And congrats to head coach Steve Jones, Kimberly High School, recognized as the Wisconsin Football Coaches Association Green Bay Packer Coach of the Year, leading the Kimberly Papermakers to an undefeated season. Way to go, guys. Still 26 degrees in Green Bay. Cordaro Patterson, hopeful of a kickoff return, but not here. So Peterson winning the rushing title for the 3rd time. You take a look at players to win it after turning 30. Marion Motley, who wore number 76. In those days, the running back could wear that number. Curtis Martin did it with the Jets. Players to lead the league in carries after turning 30. Clark Hinkle with the Packers. Cookie Gilchrist with the Broncos. John Riggins did it with Washington. And Curtis Martin with the 04 Jets. Meanwhile, Peterson, as we told you, lower back issue, and he is back in the locker room. So now McKinnon is the running back, and he goes in behind line, and there goes McKinnon for a first down before Clinton Dix stops him. Moves the sticks. First down. It was Peterson getting up after his last carry. See the little issue there as he tries to stretch it out.
Yeah, you know, it's not, I don't want to say not having the rushing champions not a big deal. It certainly is. But this Jerick McKinnon can play. You know, and you see this out of Peterson all the time, fighting for every last inch, and I wonder if he just tweaked that a little bit. But don't be afraid of Jerick McKinnon. He was huge the last couple of games.
And here he goes again. He had a 10-yard run, and now another 5-yard run out to the 35-yard line.
Put it in perspective, Al. 213 yards the first 13 games for Jerick McKinnon. 183 total yards from scrimmage in the last 2, including a career-long 68-yard touchdown run in that win against the Giants. So he's a former quarterback who has learned to play running back, who has learned to be a route runner. They said he wasn't a very good route runner in the beginning, but he is now a multiple threat coming out of that backfield.
3rd-round pick last year, played at Georgia Southern. Leading the clock here are the Vikings on a 2nd down and 5. And McKinnon again. This time he pulls his way up to the 37. Flag comes in, as you see, at the end of the play.
Illegal use of hands. Hands to the face. Defense number 90. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
And that's B.J. Raji.
Boy, every time a flag's been thrown tonight, doesn't it feel like it's been against the Packers? Here's Raji, and you're going to see it. There's no question about it. He's going to stick his hand right underneath the face mask of Brandon Fusco here at the tail end of this play. There it is. Maintained it, kept it right there. 2 officials now behind the quarterback, and pretty clear view of that one. Raji coming off the concussion a week ago.
Yeah, it feels that way in terms of the penalties, but you look at the numbers. Green Bay penalized 7 times for 54. Minnesota 5 penalties for 37. From the 42, there goes McKinnon. Can he get out of the backfield? Just for the moment he can. And then he is taken down by Ryan. Pinnell was there first. Loss of a couple. 2nd down and 12.
Yeah, and the Packers have really made some changes at that linebacker position. Nate Palmer was the 3rd leading tackler, but now it's Jake Ryan, who had some issues trying to cover backs out of the backfield a week ago against Arizona. But in the game tonight, I think Dom Capers has made the switch. Clay Matthews now has been much more active in the man coverage on those backs.
And they started the season, Sam Barrington got hurt. He would have been a starter. IR all year. 2nd down and 12 now. Again, bleeding that play clock. And then a sidearm toss, and that's caught. Nick Perry makes the tackle on Rhett Ellison, and that's -2. So 3rd down and long, and Ellison is the guy who needs some attention. So one of their 3 tight ends is down. It's going to be 3rd down and 13 when play resumes.
But he's much more than a 3rd tight end. He is a 3rd tight end and a 2nd fullback. And this is big. Let's see exactly what happened here. I won't speculate too much on what it was. We'll let Michelle filter through that. But He is a very important part of this running game, and that is not good.
So 3rd and 13. Plenty of time, at 10:53 to go. With the crowd rising to the occasion here, knowing every 3rd down is now big. Asiata's in the backfield.
And for Bridgewater, no more left-handed passes. Here comes Matthews again, right over Khalil. They do put the tight end that side to help, though.
From the right side of the defense, they pick him up, then it's caught. And trying to get the first down, but stopped shy of that is Jarius Wright. So he's out to the 48. That makes it 4th down and for the probably a little bit less than 10 minutes to play.
And Joe Thomas, the nickel linebacker that time, almost took Demarius Randall, his own corner's head off. I think it was Randall.
And Micah Hyde.
Micah Hyde, yeah. Micah Hyde here right at the tail end is just going to take a huge hit from Thomas.
Lock to punt. Fair catch called for. Made at the 17-yard line by Jared Abradaris. 10 minutes to go. A 10-point lead for Minnesota. So Mike McCarthy, as we've told you a couple of times tonight, took over the play calling duties in the Dallas game. That's 4 games ago. Tom Clements was calling the plays. There he is upstairs, sending down his information, suggestions or whatever. And Aaron Rodgers, of course, is at the helm in a game in which they trailed by 17 to the Packers, now down by 10. Again, the situation, if Green Bay wins, they stay here, and Minnesota comes back next weekend. If they lose the game, they go to Washington next week. Many wins, they are at home. Against Seattle, lose, they come back here. Randall Cobb is in the backfield. He sits up there with some frequency. Fake it to him. And Rodgers fires deep over the middle, and that's caught. And Devontae Adams out to the 34-yard line. Sendejo makes the tackle. That's a gain of 14.
What a great throw this is. A back shoulder, because he's getting ready to run into the face of Andrew Sendejo, who is going to take his head off. But instead, Aaron leads him to the back shoulder, so he gets to turn his back, make an easy catch. Just a veteran throw there.
Meanwhile, Peterson, it's good news, at least for the moment, to have him back on the bench. But as you can see, bending and stretching and trying to get loose on a 26-degree night. Rodgers fires to the outside. Adams again gets taken down up the 39-yard line. That'll be a gain of 6. 2nd down and 4 forthcoming.
Yeah, and one of the solutions, if you're playing against a team that likes to mug those linebackers up, you know, when they start walking down towards the line of scrimmage, there are some of those wide receiver screens out there, because you don't get the same pursuit from inside out against that. So maybe that might be part of the solution here.
Line up a tight end and a fullback, Rodgers and Kuhn, and Rodgers says to Kuhn, go over here on 2nd down and 4. Moving out, firing, finding the open guy, and that's Jones. So they give him enough time, and James Jones is going to find some room along the sideline. Got position on Rhodes and makes the catch for a gain of 25.
Well, if you get 25 seconds to throw, that's what happens. But watch this, because down the field, James Jones is looking at Aaron Rodgers, and Xavier Rhodes isn't. So when he saw him scramble left there, Jones knew right when to turn around. As soon as Aaron got in position, big first down.
8:10 left from the 36-yard line.
Lucky, no. Lucky, wins. 319.
In the pocket, caught, Cobb over the middle, and that's enough for a first down at the 25-yard line.
Yeah, that's one of those times when Eric Kendricks should have been there to be able to help and wasn't. Occasionally he gets lost reading those routes. They're letting them release to the inside because they've got that middle linebacker in the middle of the field for help. That time Kendricks got just a little lost.
Cobb in the running back slot, and they're going to let him run this time. To the outside he comes. Gets tackled at the 23-yard line. Tom Johnson wrapping up and a little slow in getting up. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Let's take a look here at Tom Johnson. Is that him right there? I think so. Watch him hustle down here and make the play. I tell you, Tom Johnson has been huge lately. 5 sacks, but 3 in the last 2 games as they've gone on this little run.
Under 7 to go. 2nd and 7. Rodgers, and he breaks away, and then out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Broke away from Sandeo, couldn't bring him down. Picks up a few more, but still it's 3rd down and 3.
And that's a nice combination because they're getting Richard Rodgers to help over there in pass protection with Josh sitting on that side. Give him a little shove and then sneak him out in the flat. He breaks a tackle and takes off.
6.5 to go. Third and 3. Rodgers feeling pressure from behind, but then Griffin is able to run him down. Everson Griffin. Great year, leads the team in sacks, leads the team in tackles for loss. 4th and 10, and in comes the field goal group to try to make it a 1-possession game.
Watch this effort. I'm telling you, at this point in the ball game, it's so hard for these big guys to keep going with that kind of effort. It really wasn't a bad job by Sitton that time. It was just a Herculean effort by Everson Griffin. That was tremendous. He's up to 10.5 sacks on the year now.
43-yard field goal attempt by Crosby to try to make it a 7-point game, which he does. So 10 unanswered points by the Packers to get right back in it. 5.5 to go in regulation. 20-13 Vikings. Wednesday night, always rivalry night. NHL on NBCSN. Pittsburgh Penguins, and of course that means Sidney Crosby against the Chicago Blackhawks coming up this Wednesday at 7 Eastern time. City Stadium was the old home of the Packers. They've been here in Lambeau since '57. And the kick is taken a yard in by Cordero Patterson, who's very dangerous, into Green Bay territory. And he loses the ball after he gets to the 30-yard line. And the Packers have it. Cordero Patterson.
And Mason Crosby got him.
71-yard return. Crosby gets him at the end.
Unbelievable. He gets loose with the kicker chasing him from behind. Watch Crosby swat it out. What a play. I just go figure. I tell you, the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers find more ways to win games. The Hail Mary this year, the way they beat Chicago a couple years, and special teams have been so good all year.
I can't remember seeing a kicker make a play like that.
He ran him down, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he chased him down. Probably one of the fastest guys in football.
So Micah Hyde recovers the ball.
Their special teams coach, Ron Zook, with a big hug.
The irony is, special teams is what cost Green Bay, in all likelihood, a trip to the Super Bowl last year in the loss at Seattle. And now it may help them win the division. We'll see. Still down by 7. The ball is at the 23-yard line. And Rodgers will throw. Cobb makes the catch. Picks up about 17. Run down by Munnerlyn. Out to the 40. Ticking to 5 minutes to go.
And you remember Mike McCarthy talking about what is in the DNA of Mike Zimmer. When everything's on the line, he's going to want to bring pressure. That time he brought Anthony Barr. They beat the one-on-one coverage.
5-5, hold.
From the 40. 4-4 alignment, showing blitz.
It's like Munnerlyn coming off the edge. They're going to have one-on-one out here.
Here he comes, and Rodgers rolling away deep downfield. That is caught. Jones Jones, and he gets tackled to the 23-yard line by Terrence Newman. James Jones. That's a gain of 32.
Once you see it on the outside, it is one-on-one. Here they were showing pressure. They bring the safety over there for man coverage. They do drop out, but on the outside, you knew it was going to be one-on-one. And James Jones has been giving Terrence Newman fits down the field in both games.
Meanwhile, Anthony Barr got hurt on the play, so that's the reason for the stoppage here as they attend to the Minnesota linebacker well back upfield. Crowd uproarious right now. 4:19 left in regulation as Barr comes off.
And Al, you can never underestimate the power against man coverage of a guy like Aaron Rodgers scrambling around, because those cornerbacks in man coverage are so used to having, when pressure is applied, to have to only cover for 3 seconds.
Well, Aaron's had a few comebacks in his career, 8 of 8 for 134, so more yardage than he picked up in the first 3 quarters compositely tonight. Meanwhile, Barr comes off, ready for action to resume.
They felt like if they could work the deep ball against Terrence Newman, they've had some success in both games. On the deep ball, they think sometimes he can get a little turned around on that. At times, James Jones took advantage.
Wind the clock. 4 minutes. Rodgers going deep down the left side, and that one is incomplete. Jones again, the intended target. 2nd down and 10 for Jones, who was picked up after he was cut by the Giants in preseason. 4 catches for 102 yards tonight.
You know, you see some crazy things in the NFL. It looked like this game was going to be over on Cordero Patterson's kickoff return. Instead, it was the beginning of this football game.
And like Rodgers said, we talked about it at the top. He said, our pedigree, we know how to win big games. He dumps it to Kuhn, and Kuhn takes it to the 10-yard line.
Oh, I like that play.
Leaped over Sendejo, John Kuhn, to a chorus chanting his name of 80,000 people.
Great adjustment by John Kuhn. It was a screen to the outside. They overplayed that way. He ducks back underneath just as the linemen were all moving that way. And then it was a sidearm delivery by Aaron Rodgers that got that going. They actually sniffed that one out very well. Great adjustment by Kuhn.
1st and goal. And Rodgers to the outside. Cobb makes a one-handed catch and gets tackled immediately by Munnerlyn. Penalty on the play.
They had a few linemen down the field there.
That is the initial indication. So Zimmer now will have the option. It'll be 2nd down and goal, or he goes back to a 1st down here. And that's why you've got Vinovich looking over to see what Zimmer wants to do. He wants to decline it.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense number 65. The penalties declined. Result of play, 2nd down.
I agree with that, with Zimmer declining it here. I'd rather have one less play for this offense.
Yeah, the way they're going right now.
There's Barr. He comes back into the game. 3:10 left. 2nd down and goal.
Well, Aaron Rodgers just loves it when John Kuhn's in the game, and you see why on that screenplay. You see him talking right there. The little adjustments veteran players can make together during a game.
3 receivers set to the right. Jones to the left. Matched up with Newman. Rodgers, and he's going to get taken down at the 13-yard line. That's Sharif Floyd with a big sack. 3rd and goal.
Both linemen on the left-hand side, Corey Lindsley and Lane Taylor, were in position to make the block here. Right here he is, but you'll see both of these guys were on him, and both of them came off at the same time looking for somebody else, and Aaron Rodgers took the brunt of it.
Griffin almost jumped the gun, got a great start from his right defensive end spot. Rodgers, who was sacked 8 times last week, has hit the turf 5 times tonight. 3rd and goal. Four-man rush, and Rodgers escapes the sack, buying all kinds of time, and has to throw it away at everybody in the area. So it comes down to a 4th and goal here.
Nice job in the secondary that time. It's so easy when Rodgers starts scrambling around and your guy makes 2 or 3 moves to try and reach out and just grab a jersey. They did not. And there was just nobody open. Kendricks got there to put the late pressure.
So 4th down, even if they don't make it, you still have 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. So it doesn't write a finish to the game for Green Bay. 4th down and goal. Play clock at 1. And now, because of that, because of how late they got to the line, now they have to use a timeout, and that is huge.
30-second timeout.
That is the last thing you want to do in this situation.
But you see it sometimes, don't you, Al, when it's an unusual situation and the coaches are thinking about what's the right thing to do, and it cost them, and that really cost them big there.
The play clock stops for nobody. So now they're down to 1 timeout, and the 2-minute warning makes a significant difference if they don't make it here.
You know, the one guy in this situation, you don't have that big receiver, but Richard Rodgers has big, strong hands. We saw him on the Hail Mary in Detroit. And the other guy that you don't know that much about is Davante Adams. He has a 42-inch vertical jump. So if you can get him down in the end zone, one of those 2 guys, you could maybe play a little above the rim football and see if you can just go up and get one.
Ready now for 4th and goal. You saw Peterson on the sideline as if saying, you know, can you play? Can you not play? What do you do with him at this particular point? First things first. 4th and goal.
Rodgers in the slot to the right and Davante Adams out wide.
Vikings back off. 4 rush, 7 cover. Rodgers, and it's intercepted in the end zone by Xavier Rhodes. James Jones, the intended receiver, and so Minnesota will get the ball at the 20-yard line. Green Bay can stop the clock 1 time plus the 2-minute warning. 2:09 left. Vikings by 7. Playoffs begin next weekend. There are the times. We still don't have the games yet. Hope to have that schedule for you to be announced hopefully before we go off the air. So you've got games Saturday and Sunday. You've got games on NBC, of course, Fox, CBS, and ESPN ABC, all beginning next weekend. Meanwhile, right now you got the Minnesota Vikings with 2:09. Peterson is back in the game. And he fumbles it. He fumbles it to the 20-yard line. So you wondered about Peterson and whether he'd be in or not, and who has the ball. Of course, the Packers all think they do, but only the Zebras matter, and it is recovered by the Vikings. Now we get to the 2-minute warning. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Green Bay can stop the clock 1 more time, so this one is not over. And that would have been crazy. 2-minute warning on Sunday Night Football. Wild finish. Volkswagen post-game report. Michelle, of course, on the field with the stars of the game. Messrs. Costas, Dungy, and Florio. Break it down. A look ahead to Wild Card Weekend. Hopefully we'll have the announcement of the schedule for next week. And back we go to it was almost a disaster for the Vikings.
Yeah, just squirted out of the hands of Teddy Bridgewater. You don't know if it's because of those gloves or not. And then Adrian Peterson just outfought Jake Ryan for the football. Peterson like, come on, dude, give me the ball.
So it's 2nd down and 10. Green Bay can stop the clock once. Peterson. And he will fight his way up to the 25-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 6, and we're going to go back to the pick in the end zone.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers really had a chance on this ball that he threw the interception on. You'll see it all out here. He's going to scramble around and make a throw all the way across his body, but there was so much room to work on the outside for James Jones, and for some reason Aaron Rodgers threw it back inside. You'll see that there was a good, healthy 7-8 yards on the outside here. If he leads it out there, that's going to be a touchdown.
Rodgers had gone 191. Oh, Patterson's happy. He got off the hook for the moment. That's 191 passes before a pick against Minnesota for Rodgers. Just hopeful to get a shot to go back on the field. Green Bay took its final timeout. A first down here will end the game. If not, and they punt, Green Bay's going to get the ball with probably about a minute left and no timeouts. 3rd and 5. Peterson, and they're going to get the ball back because Clinton Dix makes the tackle, so they'll run the clock down as far as they can, punt, and then Green Bay will have one last shot.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, could the Green Bay Packers streak of division wins come down to yet another Hail Mary. We have seen Aaron Rodgers. Remember the Chicago game a couple years ago, that brilliant play to Randall Cobb, I think it was, and then Richard Rodgers, the Hail Mary this year against Detroit. Crazy stuff.
Well, Zimmer's going to suck every second out of that play clock all the way to the end, take a timeout.
First charge timeout.
And then send in the punting group. So 68 seconds. Against the Lions, you go back to that crazy Thursday night game about a month ago, when Green Bay overcame a huge deficit. And you recall how that one ended with Rodgers making the catch in the end zone.
68 yards in the air. Only a handful of guys could have even made that throw. And then Richard Rodgers went up to make it. And that is really the biggest reason why we're here tonight, with a chance for this one to be for the division championship. And the Viking, everybody in this division wants to see somebody knock off the Green Bay Packers. They have been on top for so long. And I would imagine you probably have people even in Detroit and Chicago cheering for the Minnesota Vikings to finally knock them off the perch.
Well, 68 seconds, 4th down. And the punt by Locke. Fielded at the 37 by Micah Hyde. And he goes out of bounds at about the 42-yard line with 58 seconds. Again, if Minnesota wins, Seattle goes to Minnesota next weekend. Green Bay goes to Washington. If somehow the Packers can pull this one out, they stay home and Minnesota comes back for a rematch. And Seattle goes to the nation's capital.
You know what would be interesting is if they scored a touchdown, would you go for 2 to avoid overtime in this situation in particular, with the playoffs coming up, not wanting to play too long before those playoffs start?
Green Bay would win the division with the tie, but of course that would be a tie at the end of overtime. From the 42-yard line. Rodgers. Gets hit as he throws. Pressure put on up the middle. Incomplete. 2nd down. Tom Johnson disrupted it.
I tell you, Tom Johnson has really been something here. It's a guy that was kind of, he's been everywhere. Canadian League, Arena League, Europe League, and he just keeps making plays inside for him. Very guy that little nondescript, but he's always running into quarterbacks.
Vikings missing one of their top D linemen tonight. Linval Joseph out again. 2nd down and 10 now. 4-man rush. Rodgers fires over the middle. That's incomplete. Intended for Cobb. 50 seconds now, and 3rd and 10.
Much better job that time by Kendricks running underneath that middle read. That has probably been the difference in this game, Al, is the ability of these inside linebackers to take away those easy inside throws that Aaron Rodgers loves. You'll see Kendricks dropping right back underneath it. He sees the adjustment by Cobb, runs underneath it, forces Rodgers to throw it wide, and misses it.
Well, you saw the numbers. He's really taken a beating. Last 2 games, Sacked 13 times, 5 tonight. 3rd down and 10. Rodgers flushed out. Keeping his eyes downfield. Throws and not even close. That one is knocked down by Munnerlyn. So it's down to this. One play, 4th down. Green Bay trying to keep its hopes alive. Otherwise, it's onto the road.
Well, we have a lot of mobility. They've been playing those 2 deep safeties, but Aaron Rodgers certainly a threat to run in these really clutch situations. See if they keep those 2 deep safeties back. I think they will.
They're backing up right now. They're also backing the linebackers up. And Rodgers on 4th down. He's going to keep it alive on a pass to Richard Rodgers. Clock keeps on running. They have to scramble to the line. Line of scrimmage is the 46. Does he spike it here? No. Backs up, throws to the outside. Caught, getting out of bounds now is Devontae Adams. 24 seconds. Ball at the 39-yard line.
Don't give up anything cheap here. You know, and these are always interesting strategy situations for me. You get about 3 shots here at plays. Do you want to continue to kind of march it down and have one throw at the end, or do you want to take all these shots into the end zone in some way, shape, or form?
Sooner or later, you're going to have to. It's 2nd down and 3 from the 39-yard line. And Rodgers, a little pressure, scrambles away, takes a shot deep downfield and out of the end zone. And that took 9 seconds off the clock. You're down to 15.
Yeah, they really sort of had the screen to the wide receiver screen set up. And I'm not sure if they didn't just ad-lib this one a little bit on the fly. Jones runs down the field. It looked to be one of those quick screens that was going to be thrown out, and they had some space to run. But I think Aaron made up his mind he was going to take one of those shots down the field.
And Sendejo, the safety, stayed with him. So 15 seconds and 3rd down. And Rodgers flips it outside to Rodgers. Out of bounds. And that's going to take us, unless Aaron can spike it here.
Spike it.
That's going to do it. It's also 4th down. So can Rodgers spike it in time? He's going to get one more play. One more miracle attempt to the end zone. Can they do this again? No. Oh, mackerel.
Wow, what a game. Whew. It took every second, but they finally knocked the champs off in this division.
Mike Zimmer. Took him a long time to get a head coaching job. Gets the Gatorade bath. Division champs. They have another game at their temporary home in Minneapolis before they go to the Dome next year. And the Seahawks know they go to the Twin Cities, and the Packers know they go to Washington.
I think that was Xavier Rhodes who went over the top of Richard Rodgers there. Xavier Rhodes had one of the best games I've seen him have. If this, does he get the play off in time? Boy, right there, and he had Richard Rodgers down the field after he scrambles. See if this is Xavier Rhodes that goes over the top and bats that thing down, number 29.
And you also had Anthony Barr right there fronting it.
There he is right there.
Right, here comes Barr, and Barr is right there too.
That is the exact same thing that happened. Rodgers sort of backed his way in, and just as it was coming into Richard Rodgers' hands, Xavier Rhodes knocked it away and saved the day. Xavier Rhodes had a great game.
Yes, he did. They put him in a vice. Mike Zimmer takes his team home to take on the Seahawks next week. 20-13, the Vikings win it. The regular season is history.